everyone, Morgan here. Today we're going to be talking about how to store peanut butter. So, interesting fact about peanut butter, the natural peanut butters actually won't last as long as the peanut butters that have like the added stuff in it. Like, it sucks that these brands have so much additives to it. It's not just peanut butter, but they actually last the longest. Unopened peanut butter can actually last up to 15 years, but that's the non-natural kind. Natural peanut butter can actually go rancid over time, but you know, sometimes there may just be like a separation of oil and it could still be fine. But really, when it comes to storing peanut butter, you actually want to store the not natural, as in, you know, the kind that has like, 10 ingredients when it should just have the one ingredient or two ingredients, peanuts and oil, or just peanuts. But you actually want this type of peanut butter if you want it for super long-term storage. But store it unopened, just like this. You can store it in some sort of container, like some sort of dark container or dark cabinet. Keep it out of direct sunlight, and also, try to keep it out of heat as well. But, in general, try to store the, I don't want to say not natural, but the one with the added ingredients to it instead of the natural kind. Now, if you do want to go more natural, there are a couple ways you could do it. You can store peanuts and then just crush up the peanuts for yourself, or really this kind of works for almost any nut butter, like almond butter. If you want to store almonds and then just crush it up yourself to make like almond butter, you can do that as well. Keep in mind that nuts will go rancid after a time. Most shelled nuts can last about 2 years, just kind of sitting out. Other nuts can last anywhere from 1 to 2 years. It just really depends. I like to put my nuts in the freezer. It actually can help extend the life of the nuts. But, they won't go rancid like super quick, within a few months. But, if you want to store them in the freezer and then once you take them out, they'll last even longer. You can extend that shelf life even longer. But you can store nuts in the freezer. Once you roast nuts, it actually starts releasing those oils a lot faster. So roasted nuts are a lot oilier and will go rancid a little bit quicker than unroasted or just natural nuts. You can put nuts in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber. However, the best method is probably just to leave them in the original packaging that they come in unopened. And then outside of that, what's interesting is if you have some nuts, you can actually preserve them in honey. Honey is a natural preservative, so you can actually just put nuts, put a whole bunch of honey in the nuts, and they can actually last 2+ years in that. And your nuts will taste nice and honey. But you probably couldn't use it for peanut butter purposes after that. But that's just a little tidbit. And one thing I haven't tried, but I'd like to try, is actually canning nuts in syrup. Apparently that's a thing. But if it's canned or preserved like that, the chances of making peanut butter from it are reduced. But really, the best ways are to store like the Jif or the, not natural peanut butters. And just make sure that if you do want to store actual nuts so you can grind yourself, have a manual grinder, something like that, as well as store it in the freezer. And then if you ever need to take it out of the freezer, it'll still last a little bit longer after that, 6 months to a year, something like that. So you have time to use the nuts. Just know that all nuts eventually will go bad and rancid. Each nut is extremely different. Just try to keep in mind the 1 to 3 year mark-ish. Also, just a tidbit about making your own peanut butter, you don't actually need oil. Just grinding it up and making it into that paste is a perfect peanut butter. But you can add a little bit of oil to it. Thank you all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.